So I do it. Hello, 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 hello. I'm muted. Yes, I do the same thing here, don't I? I mean, it's such a crazy, it's such a, do it here. Who can't hear? No, no, Rick, you are not the only one. It was me. I done it again. I've got this fantastic gadget now called Stream Deck, but somehow or another, because I cough so much, right? I've got this really bad cough. I got asthma and stuff. So every time I cough, I don't want you guys to suffer. So I went and got myself a tool called Stream Deck, and it helps me with muting the stream when I need to mute the stream, so that you you guys don't get, you guys don't suffer. Wow, we've got 14 people watching the stream now. This is so cool. There's a lot of you. Don't worry. Get on Discord. Eventually, what I plan to do with this is I'm gonna start using the voice channels as well, so that I'll put my headsets on so that you guys can ask me questions later. So we're not going to do that today just yet, because I want to make sure that for that we have it recorded. So fret not. One thing though, any questions you guys have, please drop them into the FM Talks question stream. I've got a lot of questions already, so I'm going to deal with the questions first, right, if you guys don't mind. First up, Parkmeister. He's got a question. I have a question about the FM. The thing I'm struggling with knowing is which transition fails that are important, if you understand what I mean. For most of my games, I watch it on comprehensive or extended and on comprehensive, there's a lot of information. Also, when I try to mitigate the problems I see in transitions, I usually try a lot of different things, trial and error, because I'm not certain on what the best solution is. Brilliant. This is a very, very good question. And it's going to be the setting for today itself when I talk about transitions. Now, transitions are notorious. Why? There are so many on comprehensive. What do you really focus on? Now, the most important thing here is, do you understand your own tactic? Because you're going to focus on certain things that are central to how your tactic is going to play. So when you create a tactic, in your head, you got to know, okay, how do you want to handle the threat from the flanks? You just want them to come down the flanks and then drop in crosses, right? Or do you want to engage them early, force them into the middle, right? Or force them to clear the ball early because they're under pressure. They can't wait for support to come. So, like, if you look at this 4-2-3-1 that we have on the screen here, right? So imagine that you're faced with a 4-2-3-1. What are you going to do? Because then it's a function of, do you understand what the 4-2-3-1, how a 4-2-3-1 could attack? Now, for example, here in the if I was facing a 4-2-3-1, I'd be very concerned about what they were using on the flanks. Are they using pacey men players? Then the other concern I'd have is, the moment the fullbacks come into play, if these wingers can bring the fullbacks into play, these wingers become targets in the box for the fullbacks, and that becomes a major problem. So how do you want to play? I mean, you can play a low block, which means that you allow the wingers into the space, you allow the fullbacks in so that they are very vulnerable down the flanks. So when that happens, you win the headers inside the box, and then it becomes a question of whether or not you can circulate the ball into attack. So it will depend on how you set your team up. How do you want that tactic to play? Now, if you want the tactic to play with a low block and you want to hit them on the break, so then you'll be looking at the transitions going, yes, I'm expecting my wingers not to win the tackles. I'm expecting their fullbacks to come into my half. So then it's not a transition failure, is it? Because then you're expecting those players to come into your half. All right. Now, so when it comes to the transitions, it's understanding your own tactic, because that is the problem most people have. When they create a tactic, they don't really truly understand what their tactic can do. Now, I make a lot of tactics, and sometimes I have tactics where I don't really care about possession numbers. I've got a 3-4-1-2. I'm using a 3-4-1-2 with Cruzeiro. I'm using one. I've started the next season with Kingstonian with the 3-4-1-2 and a 4-3-1-2. And because I love the trident systems, right? And as any system that has got a trident of strikers, 3 guys attacking the box. Now, here in a 3-man backline with 2 wingbacks, I don't want my wingbacks to drop too deep. I want to play a very aggressive game in the opponent's half when I get the ball, because A, I might not be as good as the rest of the team. So what do? I disrupt them. So here my strategy is straightforward when I'm playing my game, because I look at the game and I go, okay, fine, I'm not going to, if they come into my half, there's no way I'm going to win the balls. I mean, I'm not very good at ball games. This is another topic for another discussion, because there's another game that I played recently where there's a ball obstacle and I can't get past the ball obstacle, so it became very hilarious. So ball games are not very good for me. But here, coming back, so we've got this, we need to know how we want to play, right? So when I'm looking at a tactic, you have to break down where you want to see, where do you want your transition, where do you want to win the ball. So ask yourself that question. Okay, so there are two things you need to do, right? In your own tactic, you need to know where you are going to win the ball, how you're going to win the ball, what are you forcing the AI to do. So what are you forcing the opposition into doing? Let's take a real life example. Liverpool. Now, I'm a Liverpool fan, so I spend a lot of time watching their games. So when I look at Liverpool play, Liverpool literally play on overload, right? But sometimes they drop down to control mentality. Or whenever they are playing on that overload setting of theirs, they are literally forcing the other team into making mistakes, into transitional mistakes. Players like TAA, Trent Alexander-Arnold on the right flank, and Andy Robertson on the left flank, they are closing out very early. The moment those players, they can be closing down at the halfway line, in fact. So what happens is they force other teams into decision making at really bad times. Now, when you play a game of football, sometimes you want your players to come bring the ball up. There's this whole notion in football right now about using the ball effectively, right? So people talk about possession and all that stuff, but possession is meaningless. So here, a weaker side could definitely outdo a stronger side if they force them out of their game. So we've seen how Manchester City have been undone in real life. When Manchester City isn't given time to play their game. So sometimes when you're an underdog, sitting back and playing a low block can be to your own detriment. So you need to understand your own team, what your side is capable of doing. I have played low blocks as well with poor teams, but here I know what's going to happen. The ball is going to come down the flanks. We're going to allow that to happen. And then when they cross the ball into the box, guess what? I've got my Arthur Worry. If anybody wants to know who Stephen Arthur Worry is, yeah, he was a player I used at FM17 to great success with when we got promoted in the first season. My strategy was very simple. They're going to cross the ball. Arthur Worry is going to win it. But that's the only thing he could do. He had jumping reach of 18. So I was never worried about crosses. So every time the ball comes into the box, he wins the header. And what do you do then? Then you look at how you're going to recirculate possession. Who is there to help you recirculate possession? And this is the part where roles and duties and understanding your shape comes into play. So transitions, when you can't spot a transition or you don't know what to do, yes, there'll be trial and error. 100%. I mean, I'm going to say this to you as well. For me, it's a reductive exercise. I don't go in there and go, it's definitely this. No, I will go, all right, it's either A, B, or C. Now I got to try and figure out whether it's A, B, and C. So I look out for the second highlight or the third highlight. But I'm looking for a similar highlight. For example, I'm always saying we got to do something with the second ball. So if I can win the header, I need to do something with the second ball. So winning the second ball is one thing. Doing something with the second ball is another thing. For example, now I'll give you another example. You closing the wing backs down on the flanks, right? So you closing them down, and then the ball is brought into your box, right? They hurl the ball into your box. Do you have players there who can win the ball? More importantly, do you have a player there who can win the ball and then pass it to somebody else? And then they can play the ball, and do you have players in attacking positions? So then it becomes a question of, do you have the right kind of players? Do you have the right attributes? Do you have the like player traits? These are combinations that you have to think about, and it's peculiar to every single tactic. Now I'm going to load up another game. I was going to talk about this, but no, I can't load up. Wait, I can't load up Cruzeiro, right? That's the Twitch stream save. So we'll load up Cruzeiro instead, because I'm not going to show Kingstonian, because I got a complaint. I got a few complaints from some people. They were not thrilled with me using Kingstonian in a team talk, so I'm not going to use them. Okay, So here we go. This is a 3-4-1-2 I use with Cruzeiro, right? Now, here, it's really simple. I play the entire season on overload structured. Why am I playing on overload? Because I have this notion in my head, right? So I go, all right, we got this guy closing down very much more. So he's closing down much more. He's closing down more. These two guys are closing down more. They're sitting narrow. Why are they sitting narrow? Why have I chosen that? Because in my head, I'm going, look, I don't really need you to go down the flanks as much as I need you to support these two, because there are only two of them in midfield. So they, you know, if you pass the ball to them, they might be able to do something. If I'm depending on these guys to do everything on their own, it's a bit risky. Okay, fine. So we close down more. But why is this defender on a stopper duty? Because if they close down more and this guy has to get rid of the ball, if he hurls it anywhere into the middle, guess what? A player with very good jumping reach is going to hit the ball. And if he hits the ball, it's going to land with these two guys. So these two guys, Carrerello is only going to take up this space on the pitch. He's not going to be running around everywhere. It's going to be between the two penalty boxes. But if you've got a DLP on defense, it's not going to be very far away. So the DLP on defense hasn't been given any PIs. But if I wanted to be really if I wanted to go, I think if I wanted to go Jose Mourinho, that's a different story. But here, he's got DLP. So the thing here is this: when you play your game, your transition. So here, my transition is all about one transition. It's just that one transition. Balls are coming down the flanks. How do I win it? Where does the ball go? Do I have somebody coming up to win the header? So what do I do then? So this is my tactic in my head works like this. So when I go into a game, that's exactly the transition I'm looking for. I don't look at every single transition. I'm looking for specifically that transition. When we close them down, the ball comes in. Is he winning the header? Now, the question is he stepping up? Does he win the header? Is he too far away? Is he too deep? When he wins the header, does he go to another player? And the problem for most people is just like Ellie Fang says, the worst thing is when you win the second ball and your player gets isolated. This is what I am trying to identify in my transition. So this is just one transition. I have to apologize. I injured my elbow just the other day. So my elbow is no longer very friendly when it comes to using the mouse. So I've got to learn how to use the left elbow now. It's not very good for gaming. It's called I don't know, this is gaming related injury at the age of 50. Shit. Okay, so I got pins and needles in my elbow now. Okay. So we got a DLP on defense, so I win the second ball. And now if I win the second ball, these guys are going to recirculate. So I'm looking for a transition event for these players in particular. Okay, now I won the ball. This guy has got the ball. So what do I look for? Now, in my tactic, I got two wingbacks on attack. So where are they going to be in a transitional event? In midfield, I expect them to be quite high up the pitch. So they're going to become passing options for my wingbacks. So here the question then becomes, how do I want to attack? Right. Am I going to depend on my wingbacks to go bomb down the flanks? Do I want them to extract width as a currency for attacking teams? Meaning, do I want to use the width of the pitch? Do I want to drag the team apart? Now, then it becomes a question of your width settings in the game. Sometimes I play narrow, sometimes I play wide. I don't believe in this game. There's a very funny thing. Okay, a lot of people will go in and tell you, you don't do this, you don't do that, you don't do this, you don't do that. Whatever they say to you, just ignore all of them, because there's no such thing in this game. All right, you want to play narrow, you want to play wide. It's your decision, because when you go wide, you're basically telling your players, hey, when we get the ball, you see that wing back, play it to him. When you play narrow, you see the ball, wing backs, not a priority, let's play it through the middle. So that's what width does. So it encourages play in one way. Now, they exploit the middle shot. So this is where your understanding of the team instructions becomes important. So team instructions, exploit the middle. What does that do? If I play exploit the middle with this one, my wing backs will not be so aggressive. I double that up with play narrow. What's going to happen here is a lot of my play is going to go through Robinho, the attacking midfielder. Okay, that's one way of playing it. Now, let's assume I want to have option B in my transition. So I'm looking, so when I win the ball, it goes to my DLP. My DLP will then do something with the ball. Because the wingback has been told to sit narrow, and I'm not playing wide, he will help recycle possession back to the DLP or play it to the AM. Fair enough, okay. Now let's say I want to do something different. So I'm looking for that in my transition event. So when we win the ball, does that happen? If that doesn't happen, then is it a question of whether my DLP is making the right pass, or the carrier, because the duties are set. They're not going to look very, they're not that bad. I mean, the duties are correct. I mean, they work. The only thing now is going to be player traits. AM on attack. What if Robinho has dwell on ball? What if Robinho has likes to get into opposition area? What if Robinho has the player trait, drops deep to get the ball? So all these player traits will play a part now. So I'm looking out for his behavior in the game, so to speak. So that becomes important. If he drops deep to get the ball, it becomes a major headache for me because, hey, I want a quick transitional event. I don't want you to come back to midfield. So that can happen. It happens with everyone currently. But why do in my Kingstonian save? And I have to learn how to speak slowly. Okay. I get excited. Then I get all fast and very annoying. So what we want to do is I'm annoying myself. I'm so sorry. Okay. If Robinho comes deep to get the ball, then he's going to drop deep, right? And if he drops deep, what happens to my transitions? So when he drops deep, you might isolate the other strike partners up top. So that becomes an issue for you in your transitions. So it's player now. We're looking at what are the important things to look at. First, we talked about the overall team instructions you use, but we also have to look at player traits themselves because player traits play a huge part in this game. A single player trait can up your tactic. Like there's no tomorrow. So you got to be very careful. Now, okay, we got a defense duty here. We got a defensive forward. Why am I playing with a defensive forward? Check this out. So we got a defense. So in my transitions now, I'm thinking to myself, I got a defensive forward here. What's he gonna do? He's going to pass the ball. He's going to play simple passes. He's going to hold the ball up. He becomes a nice little hold-up man. And he's going to lay it off for this guy who's charging into the box. Sweet. This guy is forward. He's going to test the defensive line. So if he passes it to this guy, it's going to be a great thing. Because he's a defensive forward, he's going to pass it to everybody who he's facing, with his back turned to goal. So that is a whole bunch of people coming up in attack. Now, let's talk about a different dynamic to this attack. What if you had a short player here? Not ideal, because then I would definitely say this is an issue. But if I had a player with jumping range of 17 and 18, this just became a phenomenal tactic. Okay? Because now I got wing back coming this way, I got wing back coming this way. I can play narrow, go through the punch to the middle. He can still hold out the ball, bring others into play. So this guy's going to score a lot of goals. Or I can go wide. If I go wide, this guy becomes a target for crosses in the box. He just hits it down against what? This guy's going to charge to the box. This guy's going to charge between the defensive lines. So now for my attacking transitions, I'm looking at getting my ball into position so that this guy can do the job that he's supposed to. So this is where understanding your own tactic is extremely important. You need to understand what you bring to the table with your tactic. So if this guy doesn't have jumping ratio of an issue, okay, now let's talk about specific positions and specific roles, because we've done the big picture, we've done traits, but now we're going to talk about specific roles. Okay, what if now here in this system, if I want this guy to be the top scorer, should he be playing on his left foot or his right foot? A lot of people say, oh, if he's a player on the left side, play him on the left foot. They're wrong. You play him on his right foot. Now, if you play him, if the AF is on his left foot and he's playing there, what you're going to see is the AF, because of his duty and the mentality that you're playing on, when he gets away, he's going to be the last man. So when he becomes the last man, if he's on his left foot, chances are you better put a player there who's good at crossing, because he's left-footed, so that he's gonna make more crosses than you know. And this means that your DF is got great jumping range, he becomes a major goal threat. So there are significant reasons why you have to think about your footedness of your players when you choose. Now, this only is really a big thing for left only, right, or right only, because when they're left only and right only, they only use one foot. So if I wanted this guy, the AF, to be a top scorer in my team, I'd probably put a right-footed player in so that he will cut inside from his left, bring the ball from his left foot to his right foot and smash it home, or get into the box and still score, because the angle is a lot bigger for a player who's a right-footed player playing on the left side. So understanding these things is very, very important. So when you play a tactic like that, these are things that you want to look at. Now I'm going to load this game again So I hope I answered that question, because it's important to be able to identify your own transitions. When you go on comprehensive, you'll see a lot of transitions, but you're specifically looking for those that like what are you trying to do with your tactic? So you need to know what you're trying to achieve with your tactic. Uh, and and then it becomes a reductive exercise. If that is not happening, then you need to fix certain things. For example, if your boys are winning the second ball and other players are too far away, is it because you've got the wrong roles and duties selected in midfield? Secondly, look at work. Then you gotta look at work rate. You gotta look a whole host of things before you can go and decide. What's happening. Like here, we've got a tactic. This is not my save. This is Daniel's save. Somebody that sent it in for game changes. So I'm using his save right now. Okay, we've got this tactic in front of us. It's a very simple tactic. Fullback. Yeah, Carriello, DLP, AM support, AP support, winger, attack. So when I'm looking at this tactic, this is a tactic I created. It plays on control structure. We got attacking playmaker here who's going to hold up the ball. So Carriello is going to be doing some good support. Fullback is not going to be very far away. Fullback here is not going to be very far away. So basically, during the transition event from defense to midfield, we are basically we're going to see 2-4-3-1, right? What do I mean? Two central defenders in mid. When we have the ball in midfield, two central defenders, two guys coming up to support midfield. We have a midfield 4, and then we'll be having these players in the opposite half. So this is gonna be how the tactic will look like when we're attacking. And we have all these little instructions here. So I'm just gonna leave it on mix for now. What about this? Fairly wide. It's like, okay, we want to use the flanks more than we want to use them. We want to go through the middle. Offside trap. Prevent shot goalkeeper distribution. Always great if you have this kind of a setup. Then we're looking. But now let's talk about specific positions. Okay, here we have a Carriello. Now he's passing it shorter, few risky passes. We've given him those player traits for the play instructions to the Carriello. Now, when you have a Carriello and you've given him those instructions, play instructions are very, very important. Player traits are very important. What if you had a player here who had a different set of play instructions? They are going to play differently. So we got this player here called Kevin Griffiths, who gets into the opposition and shoots some distance. Now, this is going to be very interesting, because if I were to play Gomez, we will see the tactic play one way. If I used another player with a different player trait, we'll see him play in a different way. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to see the transitions as they occur. I keep holding my elbow because I'm having a lot of problems with my elbow at the moment. For some strange reason, it's beginning to hurt. The pain is actually getting from bad to worse. Okay, skip the briefing. Continue. Let's talk about what's going to happen in this setup. AMS is a really big question for me. Why is that, Elifang? Look, guys, just ask questions away. I'm here, and we're gonna look at this transition right now, and we're gonna play a game, and I'm gonna try to identify the transitions as they happen, right? So I'm gonna try and hopefully screw things up first, and then after that try and fix things on the fly. But we're gonna try and do different things to see different things happening during the game. So we got Porto playing this Arouca. Now, generally, guys, what I would really recommend is you go into the game, because in terms of transitions, we need to know. Okay, we got this Arouca. Okay, so first up, they're playing defensive, highly structured. This means that the mentality of this guy is very high, probably closer to control. Winger. So these guys are going to be bombing off on their own. So they're going to try and hurl balls from the back. So balls are going to come over the top for these two wingers to chase down, and Cardoso is going to try and get into the box. You got a box-to-box midfielder who's probably going to be in the final third if they go camping. So this tactic is going to revolve around them moving the ball into hopefully moving the ball into midfield, but there's going to be more of these hoofed balls from the back, because chances are these two guys are defensive fullbacks, right? So they're going to play from the back, and what are we going to see? is going to be interesting. Do he has PPM? Which one? The AMS? I think the one that we have on the pitch right now. Okay, this guy who we have here, the Carrillo here, he has no player traits. So this is a clean Carrillo. So he's not going to do anything that we can't expect. But what we're going to do is going to bring Kevin Griffiths on later to see the difference, because there's going to be a world of difference when he takes to the pitch. So we start the game, we watch. Okay, now we're going to watch the transition. So I'm playing from left to right. I don't know this team, okay? So this is going to be a fun little project. So, okay, so we're going to see what's going to happen. Thierry to Felix. Okay, so here, okay, transitions. You got defense to midfield, midfield to attack, right? So when I get the ball, I want to make sure that we can tiki-taka the on. I won't say tiki-taka. It's a really bad way of saying it. But I want to make sure that like every single pass is met, right? Unless, of course, I'm looking for a pass into space and attacking space. That's a different story. Now, this other team is playing defensive, highly structured. We are playing our tactic on control structure. So I should really be able to get into the pitch. I mean, control the game more or less. So Ubeda gets the ball. He plays it to the complete forward. He loses the ball. Okay, that is a transition failure. But that's the first transition failure. He didn't really have much time and he got isolated. So what I normally do is I go back again and then we watch the transition again. So what happened there? Now, is this something I'll fix on comprehensive? Probably not. I want to see a few more of them. So Ubeda, look at where the complete forward is. He's on his own, right? But as he holds up the ball, he brings 4 players to him, 5 players to him. Now, he doesn't really have very many passing options. One of the reasons why I don't like to use complete forwards in the game, because complete forwards are everything role. They do everything. So we have to observe him a few more times to see. So now we got a throw in. Again, I'm looking at here I'm looking for transitions. Okay, the boys play the ball to Pinamonte. He doesn't win the header. Okay, so this we go to the player again. His jumping reach is 15, 14. His heading is 14. So he was up against another player on the pitch. This guy, Breno. Okay, so we go to opposition instructions. I think we should be able to see Breno here. Yeah, Breno is here. So his jumping reach is 10. So this guy was in the right position at the right time to win the header. So good for him. So he beat our striker, which is a real nonsense. Okay, again, Breno, the defender. So our off the ball movement of this guy isn't fantastic, right? So we're looking at Pinamonte. He's off the ball. He's 16 at the moment. His decision making is 14. He should be finding the right passes. Now the boys are just hurling passes at him at the moment, which is not ideal. So that's really something I'll be looking at the transitions, going, this is not really working for us. Ubeda, okay, he brings the ball out to Tierney. Tierney brings it to Felix, to Gomez. So we are parking our asses in their half. We get it to Ubeda. Ubeda loses the ball again. Okay, why is this happening? Okay, we're looking at structured. What does structured do? Structured, there's a lot of isolation in your tactics. So we got this AM on support, right? So every time he gets the ball, he's closed down. Every time he gets the ball, we have a problem, right? So he doesn't have many options. So again, we look at the transitions. So Ribeiro gets into the box. Okay, now we have seen 2 transitions which involve the AM on support. Elifang was right. So once again, we need to understand why this is happening, right? Can this be fixed? So we have an AM on support. He's isolated. He can't get to the ball, and we are spending more time defending than we were attacking, because every single transition, the few transitions that we saw us break down there. So we're gonna have to fix this. 16 minutes, 17 minutes. I want to watch it again. So we got another highlight. So let's see if 3 highlights don't tell me the same story. Okay, Ubeda has dropped deep now. So, but this is off a throw-in. He gets into his midfield position. We got this guy, Pinamonte now. Okay, what's the difference here is that Pinamonte had a lot of support. Okay, and this time around, when Pinamonte got his support, the boys didn't look that bad. Okay, so what do we do? Option A is the Carrillo, right? The Carrillo can become another attacking outlet, but with another player, Kevin Griffiths, who likes to get into opposition area. Because if I use him, which is what I'm going to do next, right? So this is an intentional substitution, right? We're going to change the game by just using this player. Hopefully I'm right. Okay. Man, this is crazy. I'm just putting a play in and I don't even know whether we're going to win this match. But we're going to see differences because earlier when we played that other player here, Gomez, we didn't see him moving around a lot, did we? Right? He was just hanging about when we had the ball. Now we're going to use another player here, Griffiths. Now Griffiths has got that gets into opposition area. So what this does is you got AM on support. Now we've got another player who will get into the opposition with the ball. Now Griffiths gets forward. He plays the ball and then he's very high up the pitch and he gets into the box. Unlike the Carrillo wasn't doing this. Now Griffiths is not inside the box, he's another outlet. So with just one change, we've changed the transition. So now Griffiths is somebody I'm gonna be looking out for in this transition event because we know he has got a player trait. So the problem with this system was when Ubeda was getting the ball, he's an AM on support. He wasn't getting a lot of support. Now we have another player, just by his player trait alone, he becomes another player that gets inside the box. And this one is actually, this whole goal is scored because of prevention of goalkeeper distribution. Okay, so now we get this ball again. Anderson now Griffiths gets the ball. Look at him now. That player trait, those two player traits alone have just changed the game. So when we think about players and just tactics alone, it isn't just your tactics. You got to look at a player's player traits when you use that player. And because the problem with the transition wasn't just it wasn't just it basically was you weren't getting enough support, right? We identified that very early. So we fixed that by just changing a player. Now that means your tactic still is very hard to beat. Now this tactic is still very hard to beat because it's got support duties everywhere. So he's got a couple of support duties in midfield. And it means that, okay, fine. Now, okay, they're going to be tough to break down. But we had another problem earlier during the transitions, which was there wasn't enough players in the box, right? Okay, so what do? We got a Carrillo now who's going to surge into the box. We got a attacking midfielder who's just hanging about, right? Okay. Instead of doing that, now we're going to involve more. So now what's happened is on fluid 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are going to be affected because the mentalities will all be changed. So now he's on a different mentality. If I go on structured, his mentality is going to be different. Yeah, that is much higher. So now he's become lower. So now his mentality is now a bit lower. So what's going to happen is the balls are now going to drift around to this guy a bit more. We're hoping that he gets into the game. But we're going to make a lot more. We're going to do a lot more. So we got this wing back, this full back is going to become a wing back on support. And we're going to turn this guy, we're going to leave him as a full back on support. Okay. So what's going to happen on the left flank is I'm hoping, now I'm looking for a transitional event. So when I get the ball from the left flank, I want to see certain things like A, is my wing back on the left flank helping to bring the ball to the attacking midfielder? Because in the transitions earlier, we didn't really see anything that even looked remotely like we were using the left flank, right? We had Griffiths, the superstar right now. Now the problem now with Griffiths, the superstar, who's not a superstar, the AM is no longer like, he's going to be free because every time Griffiths gets the ball, he's going to dribble, because his dribbling is 15. He's going to dribble the ball. The attacking playmaker is now going to be free and he's going to get the ball. So the transition event will have changed simply by first putting on a play with a player trait. Now, the second thing we've done is we've gone fluid. So this game is not about us trying to break down a side, because honestly, we just want to play this game and just control the game and the possession. So at the moment, we got Ubeda dropping back. Griffiths now carrying the ball again. And Felix is there. Tierney is up there. So now whenever Griffiths gets the ball, okay, it's not like he's going to barrel into a team and not have any support. Now if he barrels into a team, we've got Tierney there, who's not a wing back on support. He'll go, okay, fine, don't worry, we'll let Griffiths dribble with the ball. And what's going to happen now is if he loses the ball, we'll take it from there. Okay, so that's one way we just change the transition Okay, and wow, we've had a goal too. Okay, so whenever you change things in a game, and if you get a goal, it can be a set piece, it can be a corner, but it's a reflection of something you've done something in your tactic, which is a difference, which is different. So we've now scored a second goal, and yeah, true, you would play an SS, but here the question here is this 4-2-3-1 has been set up in a specific way, right? So it's actually it's not a very attacking 4-2-3-1. It's a more I would say it's a possession centric 4-2-3-1, right? It doesn't want to overcommit its players, right, in terms of how it attacks. Yeah, so we have now what we've done is we've actually we brought more players into support into the opponent's third. Now, if I were to use a shadow striker, like Ali Fang is talking about, okay, let's assume now this guy is a shadow striker. What's going to happen? Now, if I have a shadow striker, he's going to attack the box. That is true. But a lot of it depends on this joker here, whether he can play. Now, the problem here is Ubeda is not your typical shadow striker. All right, he's just an attacking midfielder who's got passing, vision. So what we do is we change them around. We put Ubeda here, and now I've got Griffiths as a shadow striker. Now Griffiths gets into the opposition area and shoots from difference, and he's got tackling. Now we get another transition. We're gonna have different transitions. Here I'm using his player traits, and I'm also changing his role. And the only downside of doing that is you're gonna leave a hole in midfield. I'm hoping this hole can defend. Okay, this hole can defend. Right, so we don't want to lose this game. So we're playing this game, and it's a slightly different transition. So we're looking at moving the ball from defense, midfield to attack. But here again, it's different. What we've done is we've used different options here. So in the first one, we used player traits to change the transitions, but we went to identify why that was happening. We identified why that was happening because Ubeda was was isolated as an EM on support. Okay, so what we did then was we changed him to we brought on Griffiths, right? So the Carrello now is running from deep. Now this is important. Because he's running from deep, he's dragging players around. Now we've got a shadow striker, same kind of player. However, now he's going to be high up the pitch. What that's going to do is you won't create that effect that we had earlier where Griffiths was doing it from deep, where he's pulling a team out of shape from a deeper position. So now he's actually high up the pitch. He's not really going to pull players out of position nearly as much as he would have by playing from a deeper position. Now he's in the box and he has to become a goal threat. So in this setup, you're gonna have to say that you're gonna look at your transitions to play differently. So we're gonna look at here. Griffiths has to deliver then in the box, right? So we're looking at him scoring goals. We're looking at a complete forward playing with him and dropping deep. Now the only problem here is because the complete forward is roaming. So now we have a complete forward is roaming. So how do I change this? Okay, because the complete forward in this position isn't going to help my shadow striker very much. So what I do is I change this guy. I'll probably change it to a defensive forward. So now I got a defensive forward and a shadow striker. So this guy's going to drop the ball. He's not going to attack the box. I'm going to go fluid. Okay, when we go fluid now, I'm going to use the wing back is going to come up the flank. He's going to work with the AP on the left flank, more direct, stay wider. We're going to remove the stay wider instruction. Okay. We're going to now create a different kind of a transitional event because here now I want to see my Pinamonti hold up the ball and play backwards to other players around him. So here, this is a defensive transition. So we're looking at whenever we win the ball, I mean, so far there hasn't been an issue with us losing the ball. So whenever we lose the ball, I'm trying to see that we win the second ball and we win the header as a result. So we got João Felix now, and we're playing Pinamonti. Now he's playing as a defensive forward. He ran all the way on his own. So here I have to look at his. He didn't do what I expected him to do. So we look at his player traits. See if there's anything in his player traits. Runs with ball down right, cuts inside from both wings. So he dribbles with the ball. Bloody hell. Okay, so Pinamonti is going to dribble with the ball. Our Felix to... That's a winger. Okay, we scored another goal. Okay, it's third goal, but that wasn't what I was looking for. So we'll skip that. Alright, so now they've kicked off. And we haven't done very much. Okay, what if... Okay, this is just one transitional event. So now I'm looking for this guy to, as a defensive forward, to get this guy into play. So the importance is going to be Ubeda and Zialo, these two guys. Now he's already picked up a yellow card. We're going to watch him. So here we are playing on fullback on support. So he's closing down. And here I want to see two things. I don't want to see this guy come up the pitch. I don't want this guy to be a passing option. Now let's look at the closing down instructions for this guy. He's only told to sit narrower. Can I make it more aggressive? I can. Right? So I do this. And now when he comes into the half, we will get this guy to close down a lot more aggressively. We do this with this guy, close down more, tackle harder. He's going to be more aggressive. So Ashraf and this player are going to step up early in the transition to prevent them from, bringing this guy into play, Rogerio. So right now, Rogerio is in play. So I want to stop them from even getting these fullbacks into the game. There's Felix to the ball, Griffiths out wide to Bashul, and we get a corner. So it's important that we can do that, right? So I'm not a big fan of the Shadow Striker. I've never been a huge fan of the Shadow Striker. I just don't like the Shadow Striker because the Shadow Striker is a very it's a very defined role in the game. And you're gonna have to find, sometimes with some of these roles and duties, you're gonna have to try and find the perfect player for them. So I like, in this particular setup, having Griffiths as the Carrillo and having those, you see, what have you got now? Okay, basically what you have here, if you have him playing as a Carrillo, he gets into the opposition area with his dribbling skills. What you've done is, he is Eden Hazard when he has the ball. When he doesn't have the ball, he is Jean-Michel Obi. So he drops back and he just holds the area. So this is the significant thing about player traits. Understanding how player traits influence your transitions. This is huge because most people, when they create their tactics, they don't think about the player traits themselves playing such a major effect. So even now, him playing as a shadow striker, Griffith's influence in the game has diminished somewhat. Right. Earlier, when he was playing from a much deeper position, it was a different kind of a threat. Now, he's not really pulling the players away. We've scored a couple of goals from set pieces. I'm okay with it, but yeah. We got the shadow striker and the defensive forward. Now, the defensive forward was supposed to lay off the passes. We didn't see that. We didn't see the shadow striker enter the box. So this is, that was like, okay, what I wanted more was this guy becoming Eden Hazard from the middle. Okay, what about this role here? Actually, when we have a Carrillo like this, we can turn this guy into an attack duty. He can punch, but the downside of doing that is when we're looking at our tactics, if we want the attacking playmaker to become a major threat, then this guy is ideally an AM on support. Then what you're gonna have is we're gonna control the game a bit more. We're gonna try and control the game a bit more using an AM on support here. We've got control structured. The difference here is this player's attributes now. What does he bring to the table? He's got balance. He can move the ball. He's not going to tackle. All right. He's got passing of 17, vision of 17, and decisions of 14. So he can actually play in the hole and he can string passes together. Right. So what we can tell him to do is take more risky passes, move into channels when he gets the ball. Okay. So now what we've done is, now, he's got the vision now to play those passes. So he's going to play the passes, but we change his instruction now to tell him to enter the box when he lays off the ball. So that during the transitions, we still get 1, 2, this whole left side being very defensive, okay, which allows us to tell Mr. Tierney to get up the pitch and become a major threat. So we're going to tell him to tackle harder. Now we're going to play a slightly different game, closing down more. But what we're going to do now is we're going to be we're going to play this game slightly more aggressive. Now we got Kevin Griffiths here. Now, if I were to play Griffiths, the difference is the attacking playmaker might be shunted out of the game. So we're going to try a different strategy in a different game. Yeah, but the thing is, Elifang, you can get closing down with any role. The thing is that most people, if I wanted this guy to close down like a mad horse, he will. There we go. He does that. He still does it. So I don't get the over. See, the problem with the Shadow Striker is he is gonna be on a very high attacking duty, right? So his mentality is very high. Now, because his mentality is high, he's gonna be further up the pitch during a transitional event from midfield to attack. And if he gets isolated, which is very likely, he's gonna run into cul-de-sacs. So it depends on how you set things up. If he's got enough support around him, yeah, the Shadow Striker can come in late. Which is why I like to use the Shadow Striker in a trident, 4-3-1-2, where I have a trident of players. So if I've got a Shadow Striker, I might have a DF, and I might have a I might have an AF. Yes, that combination is very good because the Shadow Striker will score lots of goals. But here, if we get the Shadow Striker punching through with a 4-2-3-1, what's going to happen is your transitions are going to show something else. And we saw that earlier with the transitions. When we had the AM and we had Carrello was different because all we changed in the transitional events was how the players were performing their roles, right? How they were attacking. So we got a different style of football just by player traits alone. So that was just one transition. So now we're going to change this tactic around to get something else. Hopefully. Okay, so here we got stay wider. I'm going to remove this. Okay, now what we're going to do is tell this guy to sit in arrows. I'm going to look for different things now. So he's going to be here half the time, right? Yeah, we got this guy bombing down the flanks. So my transitional events are going to show this guy bombing down the flanks, this guy here. The question mark becomes, what the hell am I going to do with this guy? Okay, so I'm going to tell him to just stick around and be a poacher. Okay, so he's going to be attacking the box. Instead of being a complete forward, we want Pinamonti to be in and around the box. This role is going to be the mystery role. It can be a lot of things, but here, if I use him as a playmaker, what's going to happen is a lot of our attacks are going to break down over here. So what we're going to do right now is just going to turn him into a playmaker. So I show you what I mean. So we got advanced playmaker now on support, and we turn this guy into a what do we turn this guy into? Inside forward? No, inside forward. No, we'll turn him into a winger on support as well. So we get a very weird kind of 4-4-2, a 4-2-3-1. So different 4-2-3-1. Now that okay, we can also make that guy into an effective Shadow Striker now. It all depends on how we use space, because what we want to do is we want another attacking option inside the box. No, next game is I don't know against who is this team. I mean, this is not my save. I just picked somebody else to save because I don't know this team as well as my own team. So this is going to be fun for me too. So essentially so transitions now, you look at your defense to midfield to attack, and then when you're defending, do you win the second ball? Okay, we have to skip this. I could easily have gone into this and just gone my own. Like I could have done a curated show with a lot of excuse me, a cough, right? I thought I muted the mic. I could have done a curated show where I just show the transitional events, right? But the problem with that is it's going to be too perfect, because it's like I get everything perfectly right, and I don't want that to happen. Then it's not really true, because in a lot of the games, when you're looking at the transitions, you're basically asking yourself questions like, why is this not happening? Why is that not happening? So I tried earlier, but we still won the game. Now we're going to try it differently. We're going to try a different strategy now. We want to see a different transitional event. So what am I looking for here? I'm looking for my wingbacks to go up, get up the pitch, right? I'm looking for Tierney to get up the pitch to become a threat. So this guy has to close down more. This guy is sitting narrower. So this guy, passing it shorter, playing few risky passes. Notice earlier when we had Griffiths here, he wasn't doing any of that stuff. So I got a playmaker in the middle. Okay, so he's going to move into channels, tackle harder. We got this guy tackling harder. We got this guy tackling harder. We got this guy playing as a winger on support. We're going to play on overload. Okay. Just because we can play on overload. I don't know. Jumping reach to 8 now. We'll choose another defender. Ricardo Gomez, whoever you are, you can stick here now. Have a good time. Okay. So, this is a much more aggressive setup. We might make more mistakes. I don't know. We are playing Yazim. They are in the bottom half of the table. We're playing away from home. Okay, now we're playing a more aggressive setup. So I want to see my players win the ball and not give the opposition a chance to play with the ball. So what have I done? I've actually gone overload. Can you do it on the lower mentalities like control? Yes, you can, but you got to push up a defensive line. Okay, so basically let's try both, right? So we'll start with control first. We try with control structured. We're gonna try and push out our defensive line and try and win the ball in midfield and not give them a sniff. Okay, and we have a winger, and a winger, it may not work out very well because a lot of the play now has to go through our playmaker in the middle, in the final third. It's not ideal. Why? Because if we are camping in the opponent's half, chances are we're not going to find a lot of space. So we don't know what we're playing against. We'll see that as the game as the game happens. Oh, this was in the hot seat, right? This episode. So I'm literally in the hot seat now. I'm playing this is not my save, this is somebody else's save. Yeah, this is literally in the hot seat as it comes to you. Alright, so we've got Kevin Griffiths again. I want to have him as an option. So we've got the setup. Danilo is injured. Where is Danilo? Okay. So we got I don't know who you are, but you look good. Okay. Alright, control structured. Players might get isolated again. Right. So we got Ubeda now playing as a playmaker. He's head to head with a DM. So I'm looking for I'm looking at my transitions. Now here we don't want this. Okay, this is a very good example. We do not want these two to come into our half. No way on God's green earth they can come into the half. It's very dangerous, right? So we'll set the opposition instructions. I like to do this as well. So we close them down and then we come here and then we tackle them hard. Okay, so we're putting a lot of pressure using our setup. So we are on comprehensive highlights. We'll kick off. Okay, we are playing from left to right. Okay, so where do I want to win the ball? I want to win the ball here in this area. So from here to here, this is the area where I want to win the ball. More importantly, the second ball. I want to win the ball, second ball here. So we're going to put a lot of pressure on their 6 and 8 so that they have to rush their clearances. So we've got Anderson, Gomez. So we're looking at these transitional events now. So Martinez steps up, Tierney wins the ball, outfields to Ubeda. Now he's a playmaker, he's dropped a bit deeper. So he plays. So notice one thing now. That's a transition failure. Okay, that pass was from deep, right over the top. This guy read it. But we managed to pick the second ball up. Not too bad. Ubeda into space. Okay, that didn't look too bad. So we've got a playmaker now who is using these two guys as an outlet, right? Goal scoring threats. And if we go camping, the wingback comes into play. So the wingback is going to be a danger if we camp. So we're looking at the transitions in that regard. So I'm looking for all the transitions that show me that is happening. So Bruno Lewis, now we are defensive transitions. So we are defending here. So the important thing is the high press, the high closing down that we have, that we are operating with a high defensive line, tells my players two things. One, when we have the ball, high defensive line literally says we can attack and be higher up the pitch when we have the ball. So when we lose the ball, it influences how close they are to that situation. So as you saw there earlier, when we just won the ball, we were quite high up the pitch. The boys didn't have too far to run. Now Mauro, this is where I'm looking at a transition. We won the ball exactly where I wanted it to happen. So this is how this guy's closing down forced Valente to play the pass early because he's being rushed into that transition. So once again, if I go into this, we got Tierney playing the ball. So this is where is the most dangerous. So I rewind the highlight again. Bruno Lewis has the ball. They get the ball. This is the worst time for you to concede a goal. So your players, this is the reason why we're playing with a high defensive line. So what do I want? I want him to step up as early as possible. So he steps up. He goes there. He goes for this player. And there is no option for them to play the pass. So these are things that you want to look out for. Now that was a terrible pass. We ended up giving them a corner for free. Okay. So you're defending a set piece again. Now, what is the problem? I noticed one thing earlier is we didn't create. We aren't creating very many chances. Why? Because we're using a combination on top I don't really like. Poacher, winger, winger. So it's very one-dimensional football. So we got João Felix now running. As you can tell, it's a winger on support, right? What is he going to do? He's going to run. So he keeps running, he keeps running, he keeps running, he's running and drops in across. This is one-dimensional football. We got winger and winger. So that's what they're going to do. You're not going to see that guy play in the pass and look to stretch the team. So all our attacks are going to look the same. So if you're looking at this, right, we can be in their opponent's half. We got winger and a winger. That's it. Would it change if I use an inside forward? Not really. I mean, now the inside forward is just going to run this way. So now we're running this way. If I use inside forward, it's just going to run this way. So the transitions are just going to be, they're going to be the same. So the only thing this whole game is all this, the way this 4-2-3-1 is set up is one-dimensional. Get the ball on the flank, drop in across, hope somebody scores the goal. That's why we're playing with a poacher. Now, if I play with a complete forward, he may not even be in the box. He may be somewhere else. So when it comes to the transitions, that's what we're looking for. So now, again, notice this transition. This is what I'm looking for. So I'm defending the ball at this point. So they have the ball here. They go to Capillo. This is what I'm looking at. João Felix is here. And this is where my wing back is. Wing backs, they step up. The wing back is already pushing up. This guy is already closing down. Plays the pass to this guy. Now, if my number 18 closes down this player, he has no passing options. He has to play the ball. So he's going to either play the ball back into the center. And this is why when I'm playing with if I wanted to play a game where I want to put a lot of pressure on a team, I'd either play with a high defensive line, which means my players have to be fast, or I will play on overload, on a higher mentality. So now what we're going to do is we're going to change this to overload. We're still playing wider, but now I'm going to play with a normal defensive line. And we're going to still prevent short goalkeeper distribution. Okay, we're back. A cough later. All right. Okay, so the transitions now. The question is going to be, you're looking for now I've seen my defensive to midfield transition. This is another transition event. Okay, so we got a goalkeeper. I like playing super keepers because we release the ball, we take part of the attacking transition more effectively when we use those roles. So here we got a keeper who cleared the ball straight to Buffo. Now, this is another part of a transition that you might want to look at, because if your keeper has got good vision, good kicking, this can be an outlet. Now we have a winger, so it's not so bad. He brings the ball up, crosses the ball. Okay, see, the thing here is this, right? This is the way we've set the tactic up. Winger, winger. Okay, what if we did it a different way? Okay, now, so this is one-dimensional football, like I said earlier. Okay, we want to change the way we play. We don't want to do this Mickey Mouse shit anymore. Because, God, very boring. Okay, so we got to turn this guy into an attacking playmaker, which is one of my favorite roles in the whole bloody game. Okay, all right, we got attacking midfielder on attack or support. Okay, so I'm going to put you into the box. You're going to move into channels. You might even get further forward. Okay, we've got all right, when we have the ball, he's going to behave like a shadow striker now. Okay, boom, 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 boom. Okay, he's got all the shadow striker stuff here. Okay, the only thing he doesn't have is the higher mentality. But I don't want him to have the higher mentality because I want to see how we do first. Okay, we got attacking playmaker now. Now this attacking playmaker, he's playing more direct passes, sit narrow, close down much more. That's fine. Got DLP here. We've got Carrillo here. We got wing back on attack here, overloading the flank. They've got winger on attack, winger on attack. So what's gonna happen is maybe it might work. If I tell him to play with, yeah, it could work. It could work. It could work. So now we look at Felix. Does he have the decision making? Okay, we're looking at his anticipation. He may be an okay playmaker. I don't think he's going to be the best playmaker, but now the transitions are going to be different. Okay, what we're looking at is first we got overload structure, which is psychotic enough as it is. But now because he's a playmaker, the transitional events I'm looking at are going to be, does he get the ball? That's the first thing. Because if he gets the ball, then it works. So we have a clearance. This is just luck. He's in the right place. But now you notice one thing, the play is revolving around him. Paul Felix has the ball. Gomez plays it to Ubeda. And see what we just done. Again, let's look at a transitional event. This is what we wanted. Look at this. Bang, bang. We have created an event where we've overloaded one side of the pitch with a goal-scoring threat. So we got a winger now who can attack the space. We got a poacher waiting to break the lines. So, and this is being done with a playmaker here. The only downside is the playmaker is a bit fast. So this is when you want to think about player traits again. Likes to switch ball to other flank or likes to play killer ball. So I would train this guy if I wanted to play with a playmaker who would do that. Because sorry, I hit my own microphone and I think I created a reverb effect in your ears. I do apologize. Brings me to my Mario in Kingstonian Diaries. He's been taught to switch ball to other flank because that's exactly what he does. So sometimes when I play on the left side of the pitch, he does that cross-diagonal pass into space for other players to attack. So if you want that, player traits come into play. So we're looking at a transitional event. Okay, so Gomez gets the ball, plays it to Ubeda. Ubeda tries to play into space, doesn't pull it off. Not too bad. Now we've got another part. Joao Felix to Zialo to Ubeda, plays it to Gomez. Okay, it's a strike, a goal. But we can see the beginnings of something, right? We can see that they are trying to attack the spaces. They're trying to overload those spaces. Okay, so would I be happy? Not yet. I need to see the whole transitional event. So we got goal kick from the keeper to Badouri. Okay, plays it back to Felix. So again, another transitional event. We got from mid defense to midfield attack. So here, this transition was very fast because we're playing on overload as well. Now, transitions are affected by your mentality more than your shape. Okay, so we got Tierney now. Goes out. It's a very fast transition from defense to attack. Archer gets to the ball to the winger. Again, we're in the box. The wing back is down the flanks. Right? So that was a stupid cross. Okay, so Felix into the box. So we're playing on overload structure and trying not to give the other team any time and space on the ball. So we have literally we have set up camp. So now I'm looking at us winning the second ball. We won the second ball. Gone out again. It goes for the ball into space, and I haven't even used that option, ball pass into space yet. Right, so let's go and check out who has passed into space. Few risky passes for you. More direct, more risky. You have it. More direct. This guy is gonna play risky passes because he's a playmaker here. And then wing on attack, he doesn't have any risky passes on. Wing back on attack, he's going to come down the flanks. No, he's not. He's going to be sitting narrower. So what we're going to do is remove this instruction so that he hugs the line as well. Okay. So now we're going to create we're putting more and more pressure on the AI just by looking at the transition. So here we got another one. We played to ball. Okay, this is a defensive transition, as you can see. We're playing overload structure. The boys came back to help clear up the ball. It's different, right? Overload, because don't be afraid of playing on overload. Never be afraid of overload. If you have the right PIs in the players, overload can be brilliant. But you need to have the proper support duties sometimes. And yeah, I played overload with 4 attacking duties. You just need to expect those 4 attacking duties to get you into trouble once in a while. So Pinamonte is a poacher. He doesn't play the risky pass. He plays to Gomez, Ubeda, Gomez to Felix. Okay, we're looking at the transition. So this is a very nice consolidation phase. I call this the consolidation phase. We're looking for the attacking transition. So how Felix is looking to make the pass. He's the playmaker. So he's trying to launch an attacking transition, and that's what he just did. So the attacking transition is a very short 6-second. It happens in real life, it's 6 seconds. In the game, it's 6 seconds. It's less than 6 seconds. So this is, we go from consolidation into penetration. So this is the pass that will lead to the assist. So Tierney's cross wasn't perfect, but at least it ended up in a dangerous area. So this is what I was expecting with the wingback on attack coming down that way. So we release Tierney from sitting narrow. So he doesn't he doesn't stay so close to the playmakers. So now he's actually wider. He is an outlet now for the playmaker as well. So the playmaker now doesn't have to worry about two kinds of passes. The original pass he had was a cross diagonal, right? So he had to play the cross diagonal, and that was the only option he had, which is to go to the right. Now he's got the pass to the left as well. So the pass to the left with Tierney dropping in, this will see Tierney winning a lot of assists in the game. So here we're looking at the transitions themselves. So here the higher closing down instructions for the wing back. We are playing on overload structure as well. So there's a slight difference. It's not a lot. Now the transitions are a lot faster. So we're going to now drop it back to control structure again. Okay. And just play with a high defensive line. It's almost the same thing. Right? It won't be much, but now the boys won't be so aggressive as they were earlier. We will first highlight that we see is actually the AI attacking us, right? So it's no biggie, right? So we just want to see this is a defense to attack transition. So it's a clue as well what you might need to do for your set piece instructions. So again, we're in the opposition. I've noticed that we haven't changed anything. The boys are still pressing. So as they get the ball, what do I want to see? Notice because of a low mentality, this guy doesn't close down because he's already got Bruno, whatever his name. This guy is closing him down. So here we go. They go close down. The guy on the flank, holding the position, control structured. We are allowing the team slightly deeper into our own half. Now this, you might want to change if you want to do, this is a maybe I don't want to have my goalkeeper kicking all the time. So this is another option that you have. It's not very positive for possession tactics when you do that with your keeper, unless your keeper is Ederson or Alisson. Okay. Martinez with the goal kick, plays it out to Tierney, picks that up. Notice he doesn't go very high up the pitch. Now the ball goes backwards, and that transition just showed us that Gomez cannot play for the next half. You saw that he jerked as he was running. So that was hilarious. I've never seen that in a game before. I've never seen that little like run, stop, run, stop, run, stop on a pixel. So this basically is. So I'm hoping that this has helped you guys out with your transitions, how to identify the transitions. So what do you do? Basically, the most important thing is know how your tactic is meant to play, because like I want to win the second ball. So during the transition, why would I want to win the second? What would I do after I win the second ball? I have to have players in support. So your players' work rate is going to be important in the middle. This is so important. If you want to play any kind of a tactic, like here we've got a Cairo, right? His tackling is 14, his positioning is 14. We've got a DLP. His tackling is 17, his positioning is 16. We got AM on support. His tackling is 12, his positioning is 12. His off the ball is 14. We got a playmaker wide out. Okay, his positioning is crap. We don't need that, but his off the ball is 13. So these are things that you have to address in your system. So if we want to win the second ball, you don't have the right players there, you won't win it. But here, every time the AI gets the ball, because of the 1 AM on support, right? When he gets the ball, it's going to be very hard for them to work the ball. And here, now what we've done is we're playing it on control fluid. We're playing on control structure, if I'm not mistaken. Control structure, yeah. So there's still a fair bit of isolation when we, if you notice, there's still a fair bit of isolation. There's not a lot of passing options. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to fluid. So I get more players involved in the transition. What do I have to worry about when I go fluid? Balls over the top, right? So here, the boys are in our own half. We are forced. Yeah, now because I'm playing on control fluid, they are getting a lot more opportunities at working the ball in my own half. So I'm already playing with a reasonably high defensive line. Can I go higher? Yes, I can. Then I'm just nervy when playing very high defensive lines. Okay, as you can see, we have a playmaker on the right side. This means that you can, against, like, this is a transitional event. I see this 12 is really free. Hasn't it got much to do? We got a winger on attack. He's already here. So he goes down the flank. The winger is offside. Could I play it differently? Yeah, I can change the winger on attack to an inside forward on attack, and I can get even more. I can go even more bite from this tactic. Okay, so I can play this guy as an inside forward on attack now, and turn this guy into a wing back on attack. Whoa, I am very optimistic. Inside forward support. Right, that's a bit better. All right, so we got to turn that play into an inside forward support because we want to. We just saw a transitional event, didn't we? I mean, that the fullback was free, and we didn't use it. But Baduy has got fantastic acceleration down the flank, so we're using him as a winger. All right, now it's important to remember if you have a winger, you play him on. If he's got a right foot, you play him on the right flank. He'll be a winger. If you have a winger, he's got a great right foot. You play him on the left flank. He's gonna play him like an inside forward. So that's something that we have to bear in mind. So now, that transition, again, wasn't a fantastic transition because if you look at it again, we got the ball here. So we win the ball. That's not too bad. Okay, we win the ball back. Win the second ball. Baduy gets the ball. He's not playing as inside forward. Notice the position is taken up now. He's here. So we got Ashraf now running, thinking, oh God, what am I going to do? He's got no passing options. He's a wingback on attack with zero passing options. So what should we do? It's not ideal. It's not something I like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this tactic to play narrow. So what's going to happen now is our entire attacking emphasis is going to leave the flanks, and now we're going to look at playing the ball through the middle. So wingback on attacks, the two wingbacks on attack, the transition events are going to change because of the change in the width. Now the width is going to say focus the play through the middle. The wingbacks become like they may not even be used during the transitional events. So this is what we're looking out for now. All right, so we got Gomez playing to Tierney, to Felix. So Felix, the playmaker, this he might use because it's definitely a passing option. So he uses it, plays it to Tierney. Okay, so that's one, but not too bad because that definitely was a passing option for the playmaker to use. We're going to look for the next transitional event. Plays it to Felix as we're going to the middle. Now, you see, Felix is now in the middle, right? He's not going to use this guy, and he may use this guy. No, he does not. So he doesn't go this way. He doesn't go to the flanks. Notice this. He goes to this guy, and we are playing narrow. Now, instead of the wingbacks being out wide, we don't go wide now. We're just parking our collective asses in the opponent's half. So we're not using the wings anymore. So everybody is a lot more tighter and narrower, and we're attacking the box itself with our players. So it's going to put a lot of pressure on other teams. So this is what we need to understand when we change our roles and duties or change our width, because all these affect our transitions. So our transitions have completely changed. They changed from how we were playing earlier. So now how Felix gets the ball, he'll play. There's a horrible pass to Ubeda, but he wins it back. Baduy now he's playing on this side. Ashraf is going to go here to give him support, but he doesn't need that. Ocho is offside. So that's a transition failure. Maybe here, what I should do is tell this guy to play a different role. Move into channels. No more risky passes. That was a transition failure because he went for the risky pass. I don't want him to do the risky passes anymore. Instead, now I want him to play the simple pass. So Ubeda plays it to Gomez. Gomez plays it back to the playmaker. See, the whole transition changed. Instead of Ubeda now looking for the glorious passes, he's now doing something different. So he plays a much more control game. We are now holding possession. A simple pass. So this is why play instructions, player traits are so important. That role alone, the AMS role, is been playing differently ever since we play with different little instructions, which is why sometimes I'm very specific. I only want to use certain roles in the game. Why? Because the best players I know, they love customizability. Some of the best players in Football Manager, they swear by customizability, and I totally agree with them. Because if you can customize your roles, you are going to be a lot better than the AI. This is one of the reasons why in the game right now, we have a challenge to make the AI more intelligent, and there have been calls by some of the top players, right? They go in and they're always asking for generic roles. And SI is not a big fan of creating more generic roles, like, giving more generic roles in the game. Because the moment we have a lot of generic roles, what's going to happen is the AI is going to lose all the time. So the AM on support is a generic role. The generic role that can be crafted to play the way you want with play instructions. It is a very powerful weapon. So in this game, there are a lot of generic roles that are very, very strong, but we need to understand how they play within transitions. So now we've seen Ubeda, he's playing differently. That, he had no passing options, so he took the shot. So that was fine. So we had Porto with a lot of possession, but didn't score a lot of goals. But we were doing different things in this game. Okay, so we could do different things as well by changing all the roles and duties. So the team plays very differently when you have different roles and duties. The most important thing is to understand how you want them to play. If you can understand how they're going to attack. So when you create a tactic, you got to ask yourself, how is this going to work? You know, when a poacher gets the ball, does he have passing options? Okay, all right, no passing options. So he's going to have the ball. He's going to play a simple game. That's fine if you don't want to, give up. You don't want to lose the ball in dangerous areas. For example, like sometimes you have a DLF on support. He plays a risky pass. You lose it in the middle third. That's suicide. But so I play with a poacher. So when that happens, then I know the poacher is not going to lose the ball. Here you can see we're closing down the opponent's half. We're still playing on control fluid. The tempo has changed. It's not like when we were playing on overload structured. The mentality is not as aggressive as it was. So your transitions have all changed because of the way we're moving the ball across the pitch. Well, I hope that this little FM talk has helped you guys with transitions and transition events. I have other videos that I've done that are exclusive to Discord, and these are all about transitions too. So, and Tim has done a few on transitions as well. So transitions are actually the most important part of the game. We should have beaten them a bigger margin. We should have done different things with our tactics, but we didn't. We just, had fun, changed things around. But when you look at your tactics, right, you gotta have to look at when you want to create a tactic. The first thing you need to do is, if you're looking at your tactic, you need to understand how your own transitions are supposed to play out. When do you want to win the ball? So when we looked at this, we said we want the wingbacks to close down early. So we're looking for those transitions in the game. Then when we get the ball in the final third, we're looking for space. We're looking for players to create space because we want the ball. Now we want to get the ball to these guys up top. So this means that the midfielders have to win this. When we win the second ball, the midfielders have to do something with the pass. Now, if they don't do something with the pass, we change the role or the duty. Remember earlier, when we started, we had a problem with Ubeda because he wasn't close enough to the complete forward. So what did we do? We brought on a player we call Kevin Griffith, who had gets into opposition area. So we had a player now bringing the ball into the middle third. So we had extra players there. We didn't lose the ball. So small little things like that can help. So understanding your transitions, your transitions can be changed by player roles, player traits, player instructions. So it's very important to get that right. And understanding where you want to win the ball, and after you win the ball, what you do with the ball. Okay, so do we have any questions from this session? Please put them down in the FM talks. If you put them down, I will be able to answer the questions, and it will make it well, I'm hoping that we can help. 67 people watching now. This is crazy. Okay. Well, okay, so if there are no more questions on Discord, you can always ask me the questions on on Discord, and I will get back to you guys with the answers. Thanks once again for the time you guys gave me, and I'll catch up with you guys again soon. So you guys take care, have a good one. I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.